Hi you guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm officially due in 3.5 weeks. It's time to get some food prep going, so that's what I want to share with you this video. I just went to Smith's, Sprouts, and Natural Grocers to get everything that I needed. I'm going to share with you everything I bought firsthand, and then I'll probably show you a few of the meals, probably not all of them. We're making 12, but the goal is to have enough food to get us through 2 weeks of not having to cook any lunches or dinners and only having to cook some breakfasts and snacks. So let me show you everything I got. Arguably the most important thing are these freezer bags so we can freeze everything in the portions we want them in. I also forgot, I will walk you through what we already have in the freezer because I've been doing some prep on more like pantry staple things like breads and stuff that I've already worked on, so I'll show you that later. Canned goods, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, more diced tomatoes, some evaporated goat's milk, tomato paste, lots of variety of potatoes, gold potatoes, russet potatoes. There's red potatoes in here. I have 3 bags of yellow onions and a thing of garlic. A couple just pantry things, some salt, and 2 bags of coconut sugar. Meat. The meat was like the bulk of everything we needed to get. So I got 2 big things of chicken breast. Normally I would go for thighs, but the breasts were on sale. 2 bags of bone marrow bones so I can make broth. I already have a batch going right now, but I need 3 batches total to get about 23 cups of broth. So had to get more bones to make more batches. I got 2 things of grass-fed beef stew meat. All of this meat is grass-fed, by the way, besides the chicken and pork, obviously. Tri-tip roast, a ton of ground beef. I think I bought 8. I bought 8 of them, and then I have 5 more in the freezer. We'll probably use 2 or 3 of those and keep the rest extra frozen. I got a thing of Italian sausage. For dairy, I've got some raw cheddar, cream cheese, sour cream, heavy cream. And then for fresh stuff, all I got was carrots and celery. This is mostly for like broths and soups, you know what I mean? And if you couldn't already tell, my goal here is to have pretty much all of the meals be heavily based with meat or some kind of broth. That's definitely the goal here. Those are the foods I want to focus on most during postpartum for healing. So that's why I'm putting such an emphasis on making homemade bone broth and having a lot of meat. As far as the fresh components for a lot of these dishes, our plan, we'll see if it works out, but our plan is to either have one of us like run out at the beginning of the week to like get the more fresh things for the week, or when like family or friends want to come visit and they ask what they can do for us, we can say, hey, can you stop and grab these few things at the store? As far as the total went for the price of everything, I did get a few things that are not part of the postpartum food. I spent like $10 on essential oils. I got some bananas. I got a $14 bag of coffee. But even with those things included, the total was roughly $278 for 2 weeks of healthy, nutritious postpartum food plus some. So I think that's an insane deal. I feel like we normally spend about $200 on groceries a week. So somehow doing this whole bulk thing is cheaper. Granted, we don't have all of that fresh stuff, but I think even then it's still like really going to be financially beneficial. So that's cool. All right, so we've got a batch of these sourdough oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. I have 2 loaves of like traditional sourdough bread that I made. We had some leftover sloppy joe mix from like a week ago, so I just threw it in the freezer. Here's that other loaf of bread. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. 8 bags of this homemade bone broth. I just put them in 1 cup servings so that I could defrost 1 cup at a time or 2 cups or whatever I needed without having too much. These are likely going to be used just to sip on as snacks. You can see we also have a bunch of burgers in here. This is like one of our like last resort meal options if we need something that we don't have something made or whatever. It's super easy to just throw those on the grill. Breakfast sandwiches. So these are homemade sourdough biscuits, and then there is venison sausage and cheese on that, and then we will fry up eggs fresh when we're ready to eat those. So there's 2 bags of that. Add a couple leftover buns, leftover sourdough tortillas, which I'll be making more of. 2 loaves of sourdough sandwich bread, so a little bit different than the traditional loaf. I'm also remaining aware of the fact that people will want to come over and bring us food or cook for us. So I'm not stressing at all about having like too much food. I know at the end of the day, like people will be there for us and will provide for us if we need them to, and that is no worry at all. So I can't believe how close we are. Oh, that's another thing. I'm also gonna be making more sourdough bagels. I wanted to make like a savory batch and a sweet batch. So I have those fermenting in the fridge right now, and I will boil and bake them later today. And my good friend Sarah actually just had her baby last week, and we're gonna go visit her tomorrow. So I'm gonna take her some bagels as well. To give you a quick rundown of the meals we are doing, because I will not be able to show you every single one of them. This video would be hours long. I have my little list here. Tacos, a Parmesan sausage soup, one of our favorites, so we're going to be doing a double batch of that. These things called meat pockets that my mom makes, we're just going to be making the filling. Shepherd's pie soup, a beef chili, beef stew, cheeseburgers, which we're not going to make ahead of time, but we have them, meatballs with mashed potatoes and gravy. We're going to do a double batch of that as well because it's so easy and yummy. Mac and cheese with barbecue beef, a recipe we just tried this past weekend and it was so good, so we want to make that again. Chicken shawarma tacos, pot pie with biscuits on top instead of like the pie crust. And then we do have one just fresh meal on here, which is sandwiches. And again, someone will like bring us that fresh stuff, or we'll run out and get it, and we'll serve just some broth on the side. All right, you guys, it's officially the next day. All I got done last night was some bagels. Today I really want to get started on making some of these meals. And the first thing I'm going to start with is our barbecue beef with mac and cheese. But I don't think I'll make the mac and cheese today. That goes in the Instant Pot, and I think I have other uses for the Instant Pot today that are more urgent. But I'm starting with this beef because I bought the grass-fed tri-tips for these, and I bought the ones that were on sale because they were on sale, but that also means they're expiring. So I'm gonna kind of show you guys how I make this. I love this recipe because it truly is like a set it and forget it recipe. So here are the ingredients. It calls for 2 pounds of a tri-tip roast. I have more like 3 pounds here. A red onion, I'm using, well, it calls for half a cup of red onion. I'm using yellow because that's what I have, and I'm also going to use the whole thing instead of just half a cup. Garlic cloves, some ketchup, which I have homemade. If you want to see this, it's on my Instagram page saved under the recipes highlight. So easy to make and so cost effective, holy cow. Calls for brown sugar. I'll just be using coconut sugar because that's what I have on hand right now. Chili powder and paprika, a little bit of yellow mustard, some apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, and then lastly some broth. Calls for beef broth. You could use chicken or veggie if you prefer. I like to use bone broth, so this is the homemade bone broth I made yesterday. I wanted to show you guys when it's refrigerated, the fat hardens on top. So I will remove that fat layer, and then I have all this beautiful broth to use in all of my recipes.
My friend nostalgia, I found you when I heard the sweet sound of the ones who I once knew so well. In a voice memo from years ago, we were laughing about some nonsense. Oh, how I miss those friends. Circumstances made it so that I'll never see their faces, except for on the internet, where I'll never really know what's going on behind their smiles. I mean, I guess I could check in once in a while.
Next, I'm gonna start some pot pie chicken. This recipe is a little bit more complicated than your traditional pot pie because I make it with sourdough biscuits on the top. This is one of Farmhouse on Boone's recipes. By the way, if you want any of these recipes, almost all of them are on my Pinterest, which is always linked below, so you're welcome to go find them there. Pot pie calls for shredded chicken. I just so happen to have chicken that is going bad. I have the best hack to make shredded chicken in the Instant Pot, so that's how I'm gonna do it. You just need 2 to 3 pounds of chicken. All you need is your 2 to 3 pounds of chicken. You need a cup of some sort of broth. Again, I'll be using our bone broth. You can even use water if you want. And then salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. So we're just gonna do a cup of this. And then it pressure cooks for 10 minutes, that's it. And then you let it do like a natural release for 5 minutes, and then you quick release the rest of the air. So with your warm up time and everything, it's probably close to 30 minutes total. All right, that is set for 10 minutes. I'm gonna give you guys our rundown of everything else for the pot pie. Now for this pot pie, if you were making it fresh, you normally would put your biscuits like right on top, bake it in the oven, and then eat it. I'm gonna skip the baking in the oven part because I don't have the biscuits ready. I'm gonna make biscuits separate and freeze them separate, and then when we're ready, we'll pull those out and thaw them and place it on top. 3 to 4 red potatoes. Calls for 4 medium carrots. This carrot is huge, so I'm gonna use this giant one and this regular size one and count that as 4 carrots. 1 medium onion, 3 cups of broth, a little bit of flour to kind of thicken up the sauce, 4 cups of cooked chicken, which is cooking, some heavy cream. And then for seasonings, very simple. We have salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and then some dried parsley.
To see them, but clearly they don't need to know.
All right, my memory card was full, so I didn't get to show you the last steps, but I added the heavy cream and the chicken into this, and I'm just letting it cool so I can separate it into portions, bag it up, and freeze it. And all of that chicken we shredded was actually more than I needed, so I have a whole container right here of extra shredded chicken, so I may do something with that, or may just use it as like a snack or meal or whatever, like before postpartum. This has been sitting out for quite a while. It is still very warm, but because I'm on a time crunch, I'm gonna stick it in the fridge because I really do not want to bag it up while it's slightly warm in any way. And then I will walk you through how I'm going to bag everything. All right, so this is how I plan on packaging up this meal. All of the other meals will be pretty similar. This recipe says it makes 8 servings, so I pulled out 8 bags. I'm not gonna label them all quite yet, just in case it doesn't actually make quite 8. I don't want to waste a bag, but this is how I will be labeling it. Just put the date, what's in it, and then I'm gonna be measuring out like 1 cup. I think 1 cup is a serving. Not sure, I'll see how much that looks like. Maybe we'll do 1.5, 2 cups, you know, kind of play it by ear, measure it out to how much you know you eat in one sitting, throw it in a bag so they're all cohesive, and then push all of the extra air out of the bag, zip it right up, and then I will lay them down kind of like on top of each other like this in the freezer. And then tomorrow, once they're frozen, I can go back in and stand them up more like this to try to save some space. I do plan on making a couple more meals today, but I'm gonna not film the rest of it because I feel like this video is plenty long and you get the idea. But I hope maybe this was a little bit helpful, maybe just informative. Thank you guys for watching, and I will hopefully see you soon here on YouTube, but if not, I'm still very active on Instagram. We'll see if another video comes before baby. Likely not, but again, I will be on Instagram sharing stuff over there, so make sure you follow me there. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I guess I could check in